what value a company like Uber could bring into this space, it really gets back to that user experience, right? And so connecting those dots and navigating, the regulatory side of something like this while focused on the UI side of it is really a complex and interesting problem to tackle.
Growing a business requires a holistic approach that extends beyond sales and marketing. This approach needs alignment among people, processes, and technologies. So if you're a business owner, operations, or finance leader looking to learn growth strategies from your peers and competitors, you're tuned into the right podcast. Welcome to the WBS Podcast, where scalable growth using business systems is our number one priority. Now, here is your host, Sam Gupta.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the WBS Podcast. I'm Sam Gupta, your host and principal consultant at the independent ERP and digital transformation consulting firm Elevate IQ. There is a clear divide in the TMS market. Some TMS systems are provided by technology companies, while others are marketplaces that combine their managed services. The marketplaces also compete as a carrier on their own platform. The question is, how much would you trust their data when they have a clear conflict of interest with their rating engine? This is very similar to carriers such as UPS or FedEx providing their software and integrating with every other vendor in the market for rate shopping. But obviously, it is in the best interest of these managed services providers to push their brokerage service and contracted rates above everyone else. So where does CH Robinson Navisphere fit in its capabilities, and how does it compare with other supply chain solutions out there? In today's episode, we invited a panel of industry experts for a live discussion on LinkedIn to conduct an independent review of CH Robinson Navisphere capabilities. We covered many grounds, including how the TMS solutions owned by managed services companies differ from owned by the technology companies. Finally, we covered why CH Robinson is so powerful with their data because of their regulatory certificates and alignment with ocean, air, and custom brokerage bodies. With that, let's get to the conversation. Hello everyone, welcome to today's show. And if you're joining for the first time, this is part of our industry series for which we meet every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. We review one vendor or the solution. For today, we have a very interesting vendor. I think that's going to be fairly comparable with who we have reviewed so far. So it's CH Robinson. They are also called GMC, which is their TMS unit. And then the solution's name is Navisphere. So we are going to have a lot of fun discussing that. Before we do that, we are going to start with everybody's intros. I am going to start with my intro. If you don't know me, Sam Gupta, principal at Elevate IQ. Elevate IQ is the independent ERP and digital transformation consulting firm. On that note, I am going to move to my buddy, Dave, for his intro.
Thanks, Sam. Hey, everybody. My name is Dave Chrysler, and I own a company called the Chrysler Club, working with leaders in manufacturing and distribution on increasing operational efficiency, and come to you with more than 20 years of various operational leadership roles, which also included working with companies like this one and some other system implementations. So thanks for having me, Sam. Excited to get into this one with you.
Amazing. Thanks for being here. And we are probably going to miss our comedic relief, Andy.
We're going to have to fill in with some other jokes, I guess.
Hopefully you can fill in.
Nobody can match the comedic prowess of Andy Predico.
Exactly. I definitely cannot. All right. If you're in the audience, make sure you guys post your questions and comments. And hopefully you guys can fill in today with your jokes, I guess. Because we don't really have that promise today. We typically try to answer your questions during the show. If we run out of time, we'll make sure that you guys give your answers. On that note, I guess, Dave, there is a little bit of trend here, and I don't know if you have had any time to research on these guys, and I don't know if you have any sort of experience dealing with these guys. But when I compare this, and we are going to look at the Gartner quadrant as well, the way they have sort of bundled, I completely agree with their sort of assessment and positioning, the way they have sort of structured the quadrant. And this sort of falls in the same bucket. It's kind of confusing because,
honestly speaking, I don't know how you would rank these guys. Whether you talk about these guys or whether you talk about Uber Freight, because obviously they are in that whole managed transportation business. Even these guys are sort of the marketplace. They have the marketplace for the carriers. They are trying to act as the carrier because they are broker. They are doing pretty much everything from the freight forwarding to custom brokerage to then providing the technology solutions as well. So it's very, 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 very hard to sort of rank them where they fit in the value chain. And that's where the confusion is, I guess, overall, even for Gartner, how they rank. So I don't know if you're going to have any follow-up comment. I'm going to build up on this.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you. I equate it to a lot of conversations that we have on the ERP side of things, because it makes it very challenging to understand what we're looking at, where the numbers are really coming from, and then to your point, how do you put that into a bucket, right? How do you compartmentalize those things? And it's great when you are on the customer facing side. A lot of times for these types of situations, there's a lot more integration flexibility. You're not having to go out and negotiate multiple different tiers and tariffs and lanes and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of flexibility from a customer facing perspective, but it certainly makes it challenging to identify and understand where the real value is. How can we align ourselves with a solution like this? And back to the things that we talk about, right, from those layered perspectives, where do the kind of advantages and really where do the disadvantages lie in terms of how this works with the other systems in your overall architecture, so on and so forth. So I don't want to go too deep down a rabbit hole, but you certainly highlighted some issues that a solution like this kind of presents.
That's actually a very interesting comparison. And I definitely want to build a little bit on that, to be completely honest, especially when you are comparing this with ERP community, right? And in my mind, the real distinction here and the challenge that I personally struggle, okay? In the ERP community, you have the technology company, you have the ERP vendor, you have the VARs, you have the resellers, you have the ISV, and then you have the consulting companies. Yes, some ERP companies are going to club their consulting, but consulting is very lean. I mean, they are doing more from the OEM perspective. Hey, I am producing this product, so I need to serve this. But here it's different, okay? Here, these are pure play consulting firms which are utilizing TMS as their sort of offering. They are enabling that because these guys, the way their business model is, I mean, their main business model is that brokerage business where they
Yeah.
are literally supplying bodies.
Yeah.
That's what the consulting business supposed to be. I mean, if you look at the ERP business, I don't think the ERP OEMs generally supply bodies. I mean, they would not supply bodies unless you are buying their product. In these guys' case, I mean, they are first body shop where they are doing consulting for the transportation before they sell their technology. Sure, I mean, if somebody is going to buy the technology, they'll sell it, but their first business model is body shopping, consulting, uh, the supply chain technicals, I guess. And I don't know if you have any follow-up comments.
No, I mean, I agree with you. And to me, that just kind of leads to, my comments and really your comments earlier in terms of how do you compartmentalize those things? Because, most people are going to hear this and say, wow, they have a TMS solution. I mean, I would venture to guess, right? Unless you're, actively in the market and looking for that solution. But when you hear the name CH Robinson, your first thought, at least my first thought, wasn't TMS.
Exactly. Because they are a supply chain company. They are
Right.
really supply chain consulting company. I mean, they build their technology and now they are trying to commercialize their technology a little bit. In my mind, I mean, I don't know whether customers are fine with this, but there is a little bit of conflict of interest as well, to be completely honest, because
For sure there is. Yeah.
you are positioning yourself obviously as a broker in the marketplace that okay, I am providing you a list of carriers that you can choose, but I am going to be part of that list. From the rate shopping perspective, I don't know how customers like it, to be completely honest, because obviously there's a little bit of conflict. So it's a very, very, very interesting space, and I don't know how to sort of structure this, and that's probably the reason why even Gartner struggles it. So I'm going to touch on all of those layers that we typically touch, Dave. So number one layer always was that external versus internal supply chain. I don't know where that is right now. Okay, based on this whole
Well, with a solution like this, it certainly blurs the lines a bit.
Okay, it's everywhere. Okay, and then obviously you had a little bit of cloud versus on-prem. So obviously these guys are fairly robust in their technical capabilities. Then the other layer was OMS plus TMS plus a lot of different layers from the supply chain perspective. These guys are pure play TMS vendor. Their main strength is going to be to provide that network, to provide that data, to provide that expertise. I guess that's where they are really strong at. The final scratch that we have, or the final layer that we have, is that trucking transportation versus that multimodal capabilities. And in these ages case, obviously they are going to have very strong capabilities internationally overall. Uber Freight, I think that was very domestic in general, the way their capabilities were. But now, if I compare and contrast, I guess the best comparison for Uber Freight is probably going to be this company. I don't know if you would compare this with something like Blue Yonder or Manhattan or SAP or Oracle, which is very different TMS game than what these guys are trying to play. It's a very different dynamic.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think this is a good comparison on the Uber Freight, and it'll be interesting too how what ends up emerging, right? Because you've got certainly the domestic market, but then even between us, right, just North America, between the States and Canada, it's interesting to see if there's going to be a B2B play there, between companies like that, because you would certainly think that that's a natural fit, right? Because, but again, it's going to be interesting, and I think it makes it challenging. Back to what you said earlier, I think it makes it challenging from a customer-facing perspective, B2C perspective, to understand, how am I aligning with this, and who am I competing with, and how am I ensuring that I'm going to get the best, kind of value given all of these different factors. So
great commentary, Dave. All right, so if you don't have anything else, then we can move to the slides. And here, I mean, this is the Gartner quadrant that I was talking about. Obviously, if you look at, it's a very confusing quadrant, and I don't blame Gartner in this particular, okay? I don't know how you would design this quadrant because it's all over the place. The companies are all over the place. So obviously you have the Oracles of the world. And by the way, it gets even more confusing because the companies that are going to be using Oracle, SAP, Blue Yonder as their TMS, they are probably still going to use something like CH Robinson. They might be using multiple, TMSs. They might use something like CH Robinson plus Uber Freight. Depending upon the strength of the network, depending upon what they are trying to accomplish. So it gets very confusing. And in my mind, I still don't consider these guys as more of the TMS player. In my mind, they are still very marketplace business model. Okay, and if you want to compare this, the ideal comparison in the warehouse, in the 3PL space is probably going to be those newer breed of 3PLs. Okay, that's going to be your Ship Bobs, right? Ship Bob. Ship Hive. So there are many different 3PL, technology 3PL players. They are trying to provide their warehouses. They are trying to provide their carrier network. They are trying to provide the technology as well. But the goal of those 3PL players is not that they are not trying to become sort of your TMS in your architecture. They are just the extension. They are trying to provide the marketplace. Yes, they are going to have technical capabilities, but the goal of those TMS systems is not to become your TMS system. And that's where I guess the fine line is. So these guys are really the network. These guys are more of the carrier. These guys are broker. If you can live on this as TMS platform, sure, you could do that. But again, I don't see them as more of the TMS players. And the right comparison here, CH Robinson, very similar business model. Transplace, Uber Freight is a very similar business model. Trimble, I think we saw Trimble as well.
Yeah.
And again, these guys are controlling a lot of data, a lot of domain knowledge. So obviously they have to be there in the market. Sometimes companies need to go to them because nobody else has that data.
Yeah. So we had seen that in I believe it was in that one.
Descartes as well. Descartes has a lot of data. These guys have a lot of data. Trimble has tons of data in construction agriculture, so you don't have a choice. You have to use them. If you are in their industry. So it's a very convoluted business model. And I think Dave, I think last time we were having debate about the whole business model and their valuation, I guess. So we should probably clarify that. I think I have a point here, right? And these businesses are very interesting because, when you are going to look at them, okay, their revenue probably $30 billion, okay? And then you are going to look at their valuation, which is probably going to be lower than revenue, which is just confusing, okay? And the reason why it is confusing is because the way they are accounting their revenues, okay? So their EBITDA is going to be far lower, and when you are going to look at their valuation, the valuation is going to be very high because this is a very commission-centric business, the way this works, okay? Even body shopping businesses are probably going to have higher commission. This is a pure play commission business where you are making a markup, based on whatever you are sending to your carrier. And I don't know, Dave, if you have any follow-up comment there.
No, I mean it makes sense, kind of digging at it and looking at it from that perspective. So completely agree with you. It's it's interesting to see that's the way that it's working. But I mean that's the exact that's the exact situation, which I think kind of lends itself for why a company like this and Uber Freight are starting to do the things that we're seeing them do. It's beyond, to your point, it's beyond the pure play TMS solution. And part of that I think is driven by the financials, because all of these guys and gals are, are big, equity funded companies. So you have to kind of work to the crowd that's supporting that's supporting that business. So I think if you look at it strictly from that standpoint, it makes a lot of sense. I think the confusing part is on the customer side of things. And, again, kind of we've already walked through that, but, that would be my additional comments.
I think we need to have another, session just on valuation, I guess, just to discuss, okay, how do you sort of draw the line there? So we are going to have another session for that. But right now, let's dig into these guys first. Okay, so here they are saying 24, roughly $25 billion in revenue. That's a lot, okay? But again, the reason why it's a lot is because they are more in that managed transportation, managed procurement business, which is a very, very, very consulting centric business. Okay, they have roughly 96,000 contracted transportation companies, and we are going to dig into their contracts as well. Sometimes they are contracting on behalf of their customer, meaning the customer is never going to know who they are contracting with. Okay, and sometimes they are sort of acting as just the broker. Okay, so that's how their business model sort of works. So here they are saying we handled approximately 20 million shipments and worked with approximately 100,000 customers.
It's just crazy. I mean, like, just the scale of it's incredible.
It's a massive carrier. That's what it is. I mean, it's a network of carriers. That's how you should be looking at this business model. So operating throughout obviously all over the place: North America, Europe, Asia, South America. Okay, and obviously they are saying that they are leveraging their experience in the transportation business. Your domain knowledge is going to be critical, and that's why they are able to survive in this. The companies are never going to have that kind of domain knowledge with the amount of regulations that you have, the amount of compliance requirements that you have, especially for any business like transportation. It doesn't make sense to keep it in house, and that's why you have such large brokerage houses where manufacturers are saying, you know what, I don't want to worry. Okay, let these guys handle it. And they don't really have a critical differentiator, there. So here we utilize approximately 96,000 contracted transportation companies around the world, including contracted motor carriers, railroads. They are doing everything, ocean air carriers as well in 242. And they are doing value-added logistics services, is how they are trying to define this as. Freight consolidation is a big market. Okay, that's humongous. Custom brokerage is a humongous market. Supply chain consulting and analysis, again, very emission analysis. Now it's becoming bigger because of ESG and other compliance and regulatory changes. And obviously optimization reporting. So these are some of the services buckets that they have as of today. Now, by the way, this is a public company, so we have a lot more information available in terms of what is happening with this business, and this is all coming from their financial statement. So now they are saying we also provide sourcing services. Okay, this is very unique. I think Uber Freight was mainly in that chemical industry. They have far deeper capabilities in that. These guys are far deeper in the food and beverage. Okay, and they are providing the sourcing for food and beverage is going to be very different as well. The way sourcing works, because you are dealing with far more unsophisticated companies, because the other side of the equation is going to be, agriculture companies, food and beverage brokers, dealers, distributors, and sometimes they could be very mom and pop. So that's why you need slightly more seasoned broker who is going to be very deep into business processes. So traditionally, I mean, you had a lot more brokers, I guess, in the food, beverage, as well as grocery centric businesses in general. So here they are saying under the trade name Robinson Fresh is what they are calling their sourcing business for food centric, business. They are doing buying, selling, marketing of fresh fruits, vegetables, and value added perishable items, which again is a beast in itself. Sorry, Dave, you have a comment?
No.
No? Okay. Then we have in handling produce and temperature controlled. Again, very, very, very different fleets that you need to maintain. Very different expectations from the transportation companies. So obviously that is their secret sauce. Overall, we supply fresh produce through a network of independent produce growers and suppliers. And there's a lot going on here because you have the independent, owner operators from the transportation perspective. Then you have independent produce growers and suppliers. Sometimes they might not be even companies, and that's where somebody needs to be in between to make sure that they are able to do the paperwork, etc. Whatever needs to happen, from the compliance perspective to hold people accountable. These guys might actually do the quality and compliance. Sometimes these independent produce growers and suppliers, they might not have capabilities, and these are food items, so you need to make sure that they are able to do the quality and compliance before they send. So that's where I guess the complications are going to be from the business process. Our customers include grocery retailers, restaurants, food service distributors, produce wholesalers, and planning is critical as well because these guys are running very critical businesses. And if you are not going to supply these food items in a timely manner, it's really to do business with these guys. So they are saying we also arrange the logistics and transportation of the products we sell and provide related supply chain services such as replenishment, category management. Can you believe that? Okay, they are providing that as well. Okay, and managed procurement services. Okay, now these guys are not necessarily the buying groups, even though they are doing a little bit of sourcing. It's slightly different procurement services in my mind, the way I would look at it. So they are saying distribute fresh and value-added produce under recognized consumer brand names. Again, they are doing a lot overall from the value-added services. Preferred grower network and pack to order through contract packaging agreements. Okay, now let's look at their segment information. So we have two reportable segments: North American Surface Transportation, which is called NAST, and Global Forwarding, with our remaining operating segments reported as all other and corporate. Okay, and then all other and corporate segments includes Robinson Fresh Managed Services, other surface transportation outside of North America, and other miscellaneous revenues and unallocated corporate expenses. So that's one segment, I guess. Nest provides, transportation and logistics services across North America. And here they are saying, they have less than truckload transportation brokerage services as part of this. I don't have any other comments here, Dave. If you have any,
No.
discuss.
No,
Okay.
not yet.
Okay, so let's keep rolling here. So they are saying they have Global Forwarding provides transportation and logistics services through an international network of offices. So obviously their presence is very international in general. Also contracts with independent agents worldwide. That further complicates the problem. They have a lot of independent agents that they have to deal with. From the brokering perspective, from custom brokerage, plus they are dealing with growers, plus they are dealing with those transportation, providers, which are going to be your owner operator. Global forwarding include ocean freight services, air freight services, and custom brokerage, right? Then they have Robinson Fresh sources products from around the world. Obviously, they are doing the global sourcing. Managed services is primarily comprised of our TMS division, which is the Navisphere, product there, TMS product, which offers managed TMS. Managed TMS is going to be, okay, you have technology, plus they are doing everything around that TMS offering. They are calling managed TMS. It's going to be your managed transportation, plus managed procurement, managed sourcing, managed technology, managed IT. I don't know what all. There's a lot. I'll do everything for you. You just pay us, right there. TMS combines the use of our global technology platform, Navisphere, logistics process expertise, consulting services in relation to the use of motor carriers and other transportation providers chosen by our customers. Customers can access Navisphere. Again, this is a very similar arrangements as those APLs. Logistics experts, supply chain engineers to manage their day-to-day operations, optimize supply chain performance. Again, because of this network effect, they have a lot of data and insights, and that's where the power comes in, to be completely honest. Okay, but obviously they are operating on their data. They are able to mine insights. They are able to find all the rates, and that they are able to compete with their own net. How powerful is that? Here they are saying customers communicate their freight needs typically on an order by order basis to the CH Robinson team responsible for their account, either directly or through highly automated connections established between Navisphere and the customer's transportation management system, meaning customers are going to have their own TMS. Then these guys have their own TMS. Sometimes they might sell that as TMS, but the customers are probably going to have their own TMS system, which is communicating through EDI, and that's where that automated communication is going to be. But you need that communication if you want those rates. So that's where their capability is going to be. But again, in my mind, this arrangement is very 3PL centric. The way 3PL arrangement is going to be in your ERP architecture, in your TMS architecture. But obviously their expertise is going to be super handy because you don't have that network effect. And if you don't have that, then I don't know how you are going to shop, how you are going to replenish. So you don't have a choice but to go for that. Okay, some more commentary here. So they are saying we provide the following transportation and logistics services. So number one is truckload. We have access to dry vans, temperature controlled vans, flatbeds, and bulk capacity, and that's a big deal. Just managing all of those different loads, finding them, dealing with individual carriers, you definitely require decentralized services. And that's what CH Robinson is able to provide. We connect our customers with contracted motor carriers that specialize in their transportation lanes and product types, and we help contracted motor carriers optimize the usage of their equipment. So they are doing optimization both ways. They are trying to optimize your load, but they are also helping carriers because, again, carriers don't have as much money, capacity, knowledge, expertise to be able to optimize their own workloads. Fascinating, right, Dave?
It's you have to just chuckle. It is super impressive. It's a huge company, obviously, that's been around a long time and has grown over the course of time. But at some sense, you could just say we do it all.
Exactly, right? And we have your data. We know everything about you. You have to work with us. You don't have a choice.
Oh, that's incredible.
It is incredible. Okay, so the next segment that they have is LTL. LTL, the shipment of single or multiple pallets of freight. Although we handle any size shipment, they are saying that we primarily focus on shipments of a single pallet or larger. So they are looking at pallets. Okay, if you ship pallets, okay, I'll work with you. Otherwise, I may not be interested, I guess. That's what they are saying. We consolidate freight, and freight consolidation is a big deal. That's where your capacity optimization is going to be. If you're a small carrier, if you're a smaller distributor, you are not going to have the economies of scale. Only companies such as your CH Robinson, they are going to that economies of scale, and that's why they exist. And we consolidate freight and freight information to provide our customers with a single source of information on their freight. We consolidate partial shipments for several customers into full truckloads. Then they have Ocean. As a licensed non-vessel operating common carrier, which is also called NVOC. Okay, NVOC is a term, and NVOC is going to be a licensed operating carrier. So they are that, and a freight forwarder. So you need to be licensed for that as well. So they have license for that. And these individual owners or owner operating companies, sometimes they might not be able to get those licenses just because they are not going to have operating infrastructure. So this itself is a deal breaker. And now you combine that with technology. Good luck competing with them. We consolidate shipments, determine routing, select ocean carriers, contract for ocean shipments, and provide for local pickup and delivery of shipments. Now, Air is even trickier. Okay, now you are combining licensed operator from the ocean perspective, and then you are combining that with air as well. So as a certified indirect air carrier, IAC, okay, and freight forwarder, okay, so just because they are licensed everywhere, obviously that's why they have such infrastructure. We organize air shipments. That's how they are able to consolidate. Able to provide door-to-door service. They have got everything. Okay, then they have customs. Our custom brokers are licensed and regulated by U.S. Customs and Border Protection, okay, and other authoritative governmental agencies to assist importers and exporters in meeting regulatory and operational requirements governing imports and exports. So at least what 3 or 4 licenses, which is super strong, and you cannot go around that. Then we have the logistics services. We provide intermodal transportation service, which is the shipment of freight in carrier, containers, or trailers by a combination of truck and rail. In addition, we provide fee-based managed services, warehousing services, small parcel, and other services. Any comments, Dave?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's keep rolling here. Now, some more commentary here in terms of their arrangement, how they work. So once the contracted carrier is selected, we receive the contracted carrier's commitment to provide the transportation. By the way, commitment is a big deal. Okay, one of the challenges that we saw in the case of Uber Freight, they were not able to commit. And if you are not able to commit, I don't know how you are going to plan. Okay, so they need to fix their business model. In their case, they are actually providing committed capacity, and because of that, it might be more expensive. That would be my understanding. Okay, but you need the committed capacity, so that's where their real differentiator is. And Uber is sort of trying to manage around that through their customer experience. But I guess when you get into the serious transportation issues, you have to have the committed capacity. So here they are saying when a shipment is executed, we connect frequently, either electronically, that's where EDI comes in, or manually with the contracted carrier to track the status of the shipment to meet the unique needs of our customers. For most of our transportation and logistics services, we are a service provider. By accepting the customer's order, we accept certain responsibilities, and there are legal obligations in terms of what we need for transportation of the shipment from origin to destination. The carrier's contract is with us. Okay, so they have the contract, with the carrier. But if something happens in between, obviously, then the customer is going to sort of hold them accountable. So there are legal implications there. So carrier's contract is with us, not with the customer, and we are responsible for prompt payment of freight charges. In cases where we have agreed to pay for claims for damage to freight while in transit, we pursue reimbursement from the contracted carrier for the claims. In our managed services business, we are acting as the shipper's agent. So that's the shipper's agent, meaning the contract is with the customer, but these guys are simply the broker there. In those cases, the carrier's contract is typically with the customer, and we collect a fee for our service. Go ahead, Dave. You have a comment?
It's just, it kind of gets back to the comment that we made earlier. But I mean, if you want to be able to control, margins and everything else, what better way to do it than to play both sides of the fence? Where it's
the best business model ever.
Creating your own pricing monopoly by controlling both sides of it, because all you have to say is, well, it's not available.
Exactly. It's incredible. It is incredible.
It's incredible.
And that's why Uber actually wanted to get into this business, because their secret sauce was always pricing and supply chain. Pricing and supply chain. That's how they started. So they really wanted to get into the whole network effect. Okay. Interesting. So here we have some more commentary. Our customers have us handle all or a substantial portion of their freight transportation requirements. That's what they are doing. Our services to the customer may be priced on a spot market or transactional basis or pre-arranged contractual rates. So they have 3 different methods, of pricing. And obviously technology plays a big role in that because they are a market. Most of our contractual rate commitments are for 1 year or less and allow for renegotiation. As is typical in the transportation industry, most of these contracts do not include a specific volume commitment. So overall, from their business perspective, I think this is a difficult business as well, because they are setting up the pricing, but they don't have volume commitment, so it's harder to plan their, and that's why they have to have the network effects, and that's why it's very hard to build this kind of business, to be completely honest. When we enter into pre-arranged rate agreements for truckload services with our customers, we usually have fuel surcharge agreement that allow for fuel to primarily act as a pass-through cost in addition to the underlying line haul portion of the rate. So obviously that's very common in the transportation industry. Now, this is the comment coming from, for the Uber freight, Dave, in the last episode that we did. And this is the, adjusted gross profit is a non-GAAP financial measure calculated as total revenue less the total of purchased transportation and related services and the cost of purchased products sourced for resale. So that's not really a GAAP measure, and that's why they are not reporting it. Yeah, technically you should, to be completely honest, because that's your business model. But it's not mandated, so that's why they are not reporting, and that's where we have the disconnect. Why the revenue is so high when their EBITDA is going to be so lower? Valuation is going to be high as well, but it's very confusing.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we have some more commentary. The transportation services industry is highly competitive and fragmented. We compete against many logistics companies. So this is the competitive landscape, who they are competing with, including technology-based service companies. And these are going to be SAP, Oracle, Manhattans of the world, Blue Yonders of the world, trucking companies. These are your transportation companies. Okay, they are competing with property, freight brokers, carriers offering logistics services, and these are going to be any of the carriers that they are offering any logistics services. Then you have the NVOX. NVOX is a business model. Okay, IAC is a business model. And these guys are able to do pretty much everything, right? And then you have the freight forwarders as well. So they are competing with a lot. We also buy from and sell transportation services to companies that compete with us. So it's very, very intertwined, the way transportation works. In our sourcing business, we compete with produce brokers, produce growers, produce marketing companies. That's a business model, guys. You have trade show companies that are doing produce marketing, produce wholesalers, and food service buying groups, obviously, so they are competing with them as well. Go ahead, Dave.
Hey, Sam, on that kind of point specifically, I don't recall from the previous slide, is their sourcing business then kind of segregated just to the produce side of things?
So they have, what is that called? The Robinson Fresh, right? Or what is
that?
Yeah,
you're right. Right.
So that's the business unit that is doing the sourcing.
So it must be tied directly back to that. It's not because earlier I guess I was getting maybe I was either confusing it or it wasn't very clear from the slides, but what I was trying to reconcile was, is that like another service offering at a larger scale from the procurement and sourcing side, or is it something that kind of came because of the business that they originally acquired? Because it sounded like that specific division was a business that they had acquired somewhere along the way. So I was just curious if that seemed like it was going to be another play for them from kind of a larger sourcing and procurement play.
So to be completely honest, my understanding of their business model is going to be that they were custom broker to begin with. Then they developed the technology or acquired the thing, and then the technology was not their bread and butter. They had to, come a long way to become the technology shop. And most of the custom brokerage shops, to be completely honest, are probably going to have very, they might not do procurement. These guys are doing sourcing and procurement as well.
Yeah, and marketing.
Yeah, exactly. They are doing pretty much everything. They are doing everything. Okay, so here, some more commentary. We have one of the largest data sets of shipments. Obviously, you do. You have pretty much everybody in your database. Okay, shipments, routings, and carriers in the world. Well, so I guess that could be debatable. When we look at Descartes, I guess they had a lot of international shipment data, so I don't know which is going to be bigger. And I don't know how Descartes acquired, because these guys are going to have data just for their own shipment. Okay, sure, yes, they are really big, but then Descartes is actually mining that probably from public data sources that everybody has in the market. Because your BOL's bill of lading that everybody's going to have, because that is the public information. You are going to get all of that ocean and air shipping data that everybody's going to have. So I don't know who's going to be larger. That could be debatable. But this is a very interesting comment. So we use our data and data analysts to drive smarter solutions and products for our customers. Navisphere, our proprietary technology, provides flexibility, global visibility, customized solutions, easy integration, broad connectivity, and advanced security. Great sales pitch, love it. Then we have Robinson Labs. Robinson Labs, and now this is where the AI play is to be. These guys are data powerhouse, and these guys are going to be the ones who are really going to benefit from the newer AI capability. So here now they have more products. So they have Procure IQ, and the only reason why Procure IQ exists is because they have so much data, and now they are able to get insight from that, and they are able to sell the licenses of this product to their customers. That okay, I'll give you technology now, okay, which is Procure IQ. So in this particular case, the role of Procure IQ is going to be the largest freight shipment data set in the industry to show shippers the optimal way to purchase transportation in each of their shipping. And I believe them because everybody's sort of doing business with them because they are a marketplace, so everybody has to do business with them. So they might be actually, then they also have emission IQ, which gives shippers instant visibility into their carbon emissions and surfaces opportunity for reduction. Then they have market rate IQ, right, which reveals the patterns in a shipper's spot freight that they could change to increase savings. So they got everything from the data perspective. Then they have, Navisphere Vision allows our customers to see their freight across all modes and services globally in a single view. And that we are going to see in a map view how that's really pretty, to be honest. I mean, you can literally see the whole world on a map, every single container that you have. It's phenomenal the way it works. Details of, shipment contents. Then you are going to have shipment status, disruptions to shipments, and resulting adjustments to estimated time of arrival using artificial intelligence are provided for the customer to manage their supply chain exceptions. Navisphere Insight takes a customer's raw data about their freight and uses data science to turn into valuable insight, surfacing trends in transportation performance and spend that can be used for decision making in real time or over time. Very interesting. Then we have the Navisphere Optimizer, which helps customers minimize the travel time, distance, and total miles of their freight while maximizing their trailer utilization and savings. Can you believe this? It is used during the transportation planning process. And dynamically select the right route with the right mode and right carrier on the right day. Phenomenal. Dave, any comments?
It's
just mind blowing.
Yeah, it's just a lot to cover.
Exactly. Okay, so some more comments here. So Navisphere is also integrated into 35 third-party transportation management systems. They have integration with all of those, so they are obviously getting a lot of data. Can you believe this? This is a network of transportation management. I don't know, networks, I guess, is the right term for this, right? This is not really a system. This is a network of networks and or enterprise resource planning. Can you believe? Allowing our dynamic pricing engine to directly deliver real-time quotes to customers when they have freight to be picked up or delivered. Okay, our customers to shop around and provides an automated solution. Platform provides contracted motor carriers access to the functionality necessary to efficiently manage their relationships with CH Robinson. Then we have the driver side of things, and drivers, what they are able to do is provides contracted motor carriers, drivers with load status automation capabilities. Drivers can elect to allow the application to automate location services and updates while in transit. Drivers can also capture and upload bill of lading. That's where they are getting the whole bill of lading data, right? Documentation to initiate payment process, and track and trace capabilities give our systems and customers frequent load info. Then they have drive-ins and etc. We have already covered. They have the owner operator of a single truck. So that's going to be. Go ahead, Dave.
No.
Okay. Then what else do we have here? Transportation providers, their motor carriers are acting as the independent contractors, so they are not really on their payroll as such. Then motor carrier is properly licensed and ensured that they have to make sure. So that's pretty much it, I guess. That's one. Okay, some more commentary. We are subject to license and regulation as a property freight broker and are licensed by the US Department of Transportation to arrange for the transportation of property by motor vehicle. So obviously they are very, very, very tightly coupled with these government regulations, and they have to make sure. And again, it's a very, very, very regulated business. Everything, including your, freight forwarder side of business from the air perspective, as well as from the ocean perspective. So that's pretty much it. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, it kind of brings up an interesting point, as we were comparing this to the Uber Freight, but with all of the kind of licensure and rules and regulation that surround kind of each mode of transportation, and obviously it's dependent on the property being transported, the complexity of many factors. But what I was really going to say is interesting is to see how a company like Uber Freight navigates some of this, right? Because, when you think about what value a company like Uber could bring into this space, it really gets back to that, user experience, right? And so connecting those dots and navigating, the regulatory side of something like this while focused on the UI side of it is really a complex and interesting problem to tackle. And one that if I were a purchasing customer, I would be making sure that I was, crossing T's and dotting I's, because, the more complex the freight, obviously the more visibility something like that could have. So, bigger problems, right?
So now you know why they acquired Transplace and why they paid 22 times. So now the question that we should be answering is, okay, what is more powerful? Is it going to be regulations, regulatory relations, or technology? Now, I don't have answer for that. But both could get equal amount of valuation because subject matter expertise. And
Yeah.
that's why these businesses exist. And they paid so much for Transplace.
It's incredible. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
it is.
really interesting.
Yeah. So here they are saying they are logistics experts and problem solvers, and they act as an extension of our customers' teams. In fact, our customers and contract carriers consistently cite our people as one of the top reasons they work. So obviously, it's the knowledge that matters. And again, these licenses, regulatory compliance, you need to know a lot. Okay, you cannot do this on your own. You need somebody. It's almost like accounting and taxation, probably bigger than that.
Yeah. Well, that's a good comparison, though.
Yeah. Here, okay, so they have three different products. They have FreightView, and all of these are obviously acquired products. They have acquired FreightCoat. FreightView is going to be a very simple TMS, the ones that you are going to see in the mid-market. The only thing they can do is probably parcel shipping. They might do a little bit of, LTL as well, but, they are not going to have that multimodal functionality. Okay, the comparison here are going to be probably, things like PayStack. There are many different TMS system in the smaller category, especially in the e-commerce space. You are going to find everybody is going to have one sort of small to medium size products and then enterprise products. So Navisphere is their enterprise product where you are going to get the visibility across your external supply chain. If you are looking for that. So that's very, very, very different product. And they have another product called FreightCoat, which is even different. I mean, the FreightView and FreightCoat are probably going to be comparable. In my mind, FreightCoat is probably going to be even leaner. There, the only thing is you are doing is simply quoting. It's not the real TMS team. But again, I mean, they are trying to acquire all of this because of data. Data is powerful. Then we have the Navisphere carrier, and this is the carrier side of things. Uber Freight had this as well. So it's very, very, very comparable. Now they are saying find, offer, book, haul, get paid, repeat. That's from the carrier perspective. They are able to manage pretty much everything. But obviously for, whenever they are going to be part of this network. But carriers need to sort of deal with a lot of different players. So they have their own complexity as well. I don't know if they are going to use this as their TMS. Obviously, that's what CH Robinson wants. But you might not be able to scale your business depending upon, what you want to do. Instantly book and make offers on the loads you want. So obviously they are providing all of the functionality for the carriers as well. They have the driver mobile app that they are providing to drivers, and they are able to do that just because they are. Dave, any comments I can take? No? Okay, so now this gets really, really confusing. Okay, now if you look at their integration, they are integrated with pretty much everybody, including their competitors. Okay, that's where it just blows my mind the way these integrations work completely. And I don't know who's tracking these data relationships. The boundary, the guards. I don't know, man. It's just so much integration. That's all I can say. So here we have, obviously, we have really big names. You are going to have all of the commerce-centric players because, again, these guys are brokers, so they need to be listed everywhere. That's why they need to be integrated. Everybody wants them because, each customer would like to have CH Robinson as their carrier because they are probably going to have the cheapest rate because of their data. Okay, so that's why they are present in PaceJet, Ship ERP, Ship Age, Starship. These are all very comparable to your Freight Quote or which one, the Freight, what was the other product name? That was Freight View. Freight View. So these guys, Ship ERP, Ship Hawk, Starship, Ship Edge, all of these are going to be comparable to that. Then they have, the Oracle TMS. Obviously, they are integrated with that because a lot of customers are going to have their own TMS and they are using this as more of 4PL, 5PL, 6PL, 10PL, whatever you want to call it. I'll let you decide that, but that's a lot, okay? Then they are so Cubix was Trimble company, okay, and they ended up shutting that down, and they are actually integrating with. Okay, so in my mind, Uber Freight, Trimble, as well as CH Robinson, they all are competing. Obviously, Trimble is in a very different industry, but I'm pretty sure they overlap somewhere. So it's very interesting that they are actually integrating with that. And then they are also integrating with your E2 Open, which we are going to review, Blue Yonder. These are your technology players, and they have to have these guys as their broker. Then you have Oracle TMS, Oracle NetSuite, SAP, and what is that? Mercury Gate, which we are also going. Okay, if you have any comments, I can take those, or let's review some of the integrations. So here, again, in my mind, this particular diagram, this relationship is very 3PL centric. So let's review these inputs. So they are saying trust our highly connected algorithmic based pricing engine to pull data from a network of more than 200,000 shippers. Can you believe this? 200,000 shippers and up to 100,000 carriers, I guess. Look at that network. How much powerful that is, right? Accessing more data in real time, supply and demand, routes and shipments than any other provider. No doubt that they are powerful. External inputs, supply in the market, demand in the market, weather patterns, traffic congestion, or information advantage. More data on shipments, routing, and carriers than any other provider, and I believe they are definitely going to have that. Loads in similar lanes and corridors, demand from CH Robinson customers, supply from CH Robinson carriers, historical norms, and seasonality. And then there is a little comparison here between your Freight View and TMC, which is their small to medium size product as well as the enterprise product. What else do we have here? The whole TMS integration piece. And again, that they are integrating with a lot of TMS. Again, in my mind, this is a marketplace arrangement. This is 3PL, 4PL, 5PL arrangement, the way they are trying to position. Okay, so there might be a little confusion here because they are saying Navisphere PO management. Now PO management could mean a lot of different things. From their perspective, this PO is going to be slightly more transportation. So don't be confused. Okay, they are, yes, doing a little bit of sourcing, but they are not supposed to be your Arrivas of the world. They are not supposed to be your Coupas of the world, and they are definitely not buying group. So they have different positioning in the architect as well as from the business model perspective. Okay, I don't have anything else, but these are all transportation centric, terms. They have the buyer ERP. Buyer ERP is, sending the PO, that is the transportation PO, PO negotiation and confirmation. Then you have the supplier transportation request. Then you have the rule engine validation. So that's your complete transportation flow. The suppliers are really carriers. Here, these are not your vendors. These are really carriers, transportation company. So there's a little distinction there. Then you have the exception management. They are handling that just because they have the network. And then they have the shipment execution and the inventory receipt. And again, don't be confused here, okay? Inventory receipt, when they say, that is again more from the carrier perspective. Now, this map view, I absolutely love it because, this is across your supply chain. This is everything you can track, every single airplane out there, ocean out there, wherever your container is sitting, you can see the contents, you can track everything. Now, I'm pretty sure these guys have some sort of, telemetry or the RFID as well. Again, you have, tracking every second. What else do you? Okay. And again, you can drill down all of these details, but again, the details are going to be related to just the transportation. It's almost like looking into your courier, looking into your airline, the way you are going to be shipping your freight on airline. Those are the details that you are going to get. By the way, this is the public data that we have. This public data is available on Google. Anybody can look at it. So obviously they are overlaying this with their internal data, and that's how they are powerful. So there's a lot of data available from the air perspective.
That is a pretty wild and fun website to play around on.
So you have played, Dave, right?
Yeah, of course. It's pretty interesting.
I know. You can do a lot, man, Zeta. I'm telling you, you can do a lot. Okay, I think we just have one review, and I don't know if you're going to have any sort of points, and then we can probably cover some short comments. Anything worth highlighting here, Dave? That you? No. Yeah, I don't see anything. We should be talking. I think that's fairly standard. But I mean, one point that you need to draw from here is if you need managed services, then this TMS is the right fit. That's what the user is saying, which is right as well. Okay, this is managed service business. This is not a TMS. So that's the major takeaway, I guess. Okay, Dave, comments.
I mean, impressive. I have done work with this company previously and had no idea of the amount of services behind that. Some of that obviously has been since I've worked with them, but yeah, it's incredible. I mean, and it's really going to be interesting, in this space. What is going to be interesting is different than some of the challenges, right, that we see like in the ERP space. So it'll be fascinating to kind of see how the data continues to drive these things forward. This is obviously a much more, from a system architecture standpoint, much more cloud forward or cloud native than the other things we typically review. But yeah, I think we started off the conversation in the right space. It is very challenging to put something like this into a particular category or bucket. Yeah. And, the best thing you can do if you are on the purchasing side of this is understand what you're really purchasing, how it interacts with the rest of your, operation flow, supply chain flow, because while there are significant advantages to all of the integration, right? You can make the argument on the opposite side that you're putting so many things into one basket that, AWS goes down and you're never going to be able to ship anything for 3 days. So it's, kind of just understand what you're getting into. That's not to say that this isn't an amazing, amazing service offering, because it really is. It's impressive what they've been able to do and how they've structured. So
it is definitely impressive. I mean, I cannot agree more. This is an amazing company. They have amazing offering. It's just that the question is whether they are real TMS player is what my question is. Yeah. They are managed services business, from transportation perspective. That should be the first thing that you should be, when you are buying their services, that should be. And then if their TMS could be fit for your architecture, get it. Otherwise, have your own.
Yeah. Nope. Couldn't agree more.
Okay, amazing. Any other short comments, Dave? No,
I don't think so.
Amazing, guys. So that's it for today. If you joined for the first time, this was part of our industry series for which we meet every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you guys are going to be here next week. We're going to come back with another vendor or the solution. On that note, thanks everyone for tuning in tonight.
Thanks, Sam.
Thanks, Dave.
I cannot thank our guests enough for coming on the show, for sharing their knowledge and journey. I always pick up learnings from our guests, and hopefully you learned something new today. If you want to learn more about Dave Chrysler, head over to thechrysler.club. CHECRYSLER.CLUB. If you want to learn more about Andy Pratico, head over to esoft.com. It's ESSOFT.com. Links and more information will also be available in the show notes. Also, don't forget to subscribe and spread the word among folks with similar backgrounds. If you have any questions or comments about the show, please review and rate us on your favorite podcasting platform or DM me on any social channels. I'll try my best to respond personally and make sure you get help. Thank you, and I hope to catch you on the next episode of the WBS.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the WBS Podcast. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. For more information on growth strategies for SMBs using ERP and digital transformation, check out our community at WBS.rocks. We'll see you next time.